It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, ends up, yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Welcome on into the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here alongside Egbert Sanderson himself.
Egbert, are we on air?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Someone just let us know we're on. I feel like I have to ask it every time.
Someone on the text line?
Yeah, someone text in, introduce the text line, and someone please just tell us that we're on air.
Yeah, 435-339-0321. I don't know, our listeners might be out of the habit now. We didn't have a show on Friday, didn't have a show on Monday, and unfortunately, we're not really going to have a show the rest of the week. Christmas Eve is tomorrow, so we'll be off. Then it's obviously Christmas, and then December 26th, nobody's going to be in town. I'll be out of town taking holiday, and Eric's obviously out of the country right now. So
is he really?
Yeah.
Hey, when did you know he was going to be gone?
I mean, he let me know like a month or more in advance. Like he gave me pretty big heads up.
Okay.
And then he was obviously doing as much as he could to prepare everything and make sure we would all know what to do with him gone.
Yeah. What is this place just like nearly melt down when he's gone? I mean, are you guys okay?
It could. He does a lot behind the scenes. So he made sure to put in as much work as he could so that I wouldn't have to call him while he's in like Lithuania or something.
Just call him anyways. Ask him if he'll bring you home a croissant.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to France. I think he's going like across kind of Eastern Europe, Germany, like where he went on his mission. And then I think they're going to finish up. They're going to go to Rome and maybe some of the other, obviously.
Maybe a German pancake then.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, that sounds good.
So getting a lot of texts from our texters saying we're on the air. Thanks, 8968-5452 and 9315 as well. 9315 saying text when you're off the air or something like that.
Yes, text when you're off the air. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Text us if we're off the air. But we are going to be off the air every other day. Tuesday is the only show we get, and there's a lot to get to. So let's go ahead and jump into right now. If you have any texts on, we're basically going to talk about Utah State football. Their loss in the Potato Bowl. We'll also, I know it feels like it happened forever ago, but Utah State's win over Colorado State. So any thoughts you had about those games, any questions you might have, any analysis you want to hear? I was rewatching that Colorado State game earlier today, just kind of refamiliarizing myself with a lot of those plays, a lot of what happened and how that ended up happening. I didn't rewatch the Potato Bowl. I didn't feel up to that today.
I don't think anybody felt up to rewatching it. I mean, I don't even know what the worst part was, the performance or the freaking potato head, that creepy potato head mascot dancing. Like, what are we doing here?
Ajay's going to see it in his sleep.
Oh, my gosh.
So if you happen to miss it, then some of us envy you. But Utah State losing 34-21 in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl played yesterday at noon. And the final score makes it seem a lot closer than it was. Washington State outgaining the Aggies 628-254. And there was a good portion of this game, Ajay, where I wasn't sure the Aggies were actually going to score.
Yeah.
And mind you, to tell you how kind of in the bag this game was for Washington State, when the fourth quarter was coming to a close, and heck, even during like the third quarter, I basically had my game recap done.
That bad, huh?
Yeah.
So when for you did it hit you that, hey, we aren't going to win this thing? Like, how early did it come for you?
Probably middle to late second quarter.
That's where I was too. Yep. And even after we got the stop on fourth and short to end the second or end the first half, I was worried that, will they get the ball in the second half? How are they going to come out? How are they going to come swinging? I mean, and then they enter into the run game that supposedly Bronco surprise coach Mendenhall, which is just crazy. It was a really porous performance from the offense in the first half and the defense in the second half. I mean, and granted, the defense got put in some really, really bad spots in that first half. I mean, really tough spots. And it's a bend but don't break defense. It's kind of been the catalyst of that defense really for so much of the season. But they just got exhausted. And you got to give Washington State a lot of credit. I mean, 4 turnovers, and they still put up 34 points. That shouldn't happen ever. And just too many giving away opportunities from the offense, and then like I said, ran out of gas and became exhausted. Second half, the Washington State Cougars utilized that run game, and they went right at him, right down their throat too.
Yeah, and the thing that, and maybe it would have tipped off to me, maybe even early in the second quarter, but like the thing that really indicated that like the Aggies are in trouble was getting those back-to-back interceptions.
Oh yeah.
And you get the ball 13 yards away from the end zone and then 28 yards from the end zone. And they came up empty. They didn't just not only have to settle for field goals, which if they'd have settled for field goals, they'd have gone into the second quarter trailing 7-6 and at least have something. But no, the efforts of their defense to basically hand them points, like you cannot, as a defense, do any better in terms of handing the team points other than running the ball into the end zone yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing, Joshua Meredith, 12 catches, well, I guess 8 catches, 84 yards, and no touchdowns, and yet he's your bowl game MVP. That's how bad it was.
And that surprised me a little bit because I voted for the quarterback, and I know the quarterback had 3 interceptions, but 334 passing yards, but 34 rushing yards. Like, and Meredith, there were 12 guys that caught a pass in that game. Meredith wasn't this like star of the receiving.
Well, I think even Maxwell Woods, he had like 9 carries, 117, didn't have a touchdown, but I thought even he was effective.
Meredith was like 3rd or 4th in terms of like yards in this game. Second, if if you don't count passing yards, which are always kind of their own thing. So it's like, it was weird that he, mind you, I put in my vote, but there's more people voting than just me.
Yeah,
that was just my opinion.
One. And the other thing that kind of got me really off to almost a downer start, Tanner Rinker just shanking a field goal as bad as he did.
Yeah,
I mean that dude, they hit the 3rd construction pull over on the left side. That's how off it was. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, and his end to the season, like that guy needs just a boost of confidence.
That was unreal.
Because he lost it somewhere before the UNLV game. Like, did it get lost in the baggage claim on the plane to Vegas? Like, because he had all of it before then. Like, Utah State, which game was it where he hit like San Jose? He hit like 3 or 4 field goals in that game.
One was from deep, too.
Yeah, the Aggies don't win the San Jose game if Tanner Rinker was absolutely money on his field goals.
Yeah.
But then they arguably lost multiple games because he suddenly couldn't, like that. It's the weirdest case of lost confidence because it's not ability, it's confidence.
Yeah. And I have to ask, is Brady Pagan that much of a difference maker in the receiving corps that we can't find anybody else to get separation from a defender to be able to be reliable target in hands? Except for Brady Pagan. I was amazed how lacking our wide receivers were in regards of getting separation and getting sharp routes and getting open. I just was, what in the world?
And Utah State basically had 2 consistent wide receivers all season, and they had like 3 wide receivers who were like in the rotation. Like Anthony Garcia was kind of beginning of the regular season, end of the regular season. He was good for like 3 or 4 catches.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the season, he like barely did it. He might have 1 catch, but Pagan and Brady Boyd were enormous in that not only were they the ones that at least get some separation, they could go out there and go get a ball.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing about Anthony Garcia is on 2 of those routes. One of them I think was picked or nearly picked on the out route. It was it was a far hash line throw, and Anthony made no adjustment to go after it, like none. If he's going to be receiver next year, he's got to be able to learn to come back to the football and go fight for it. Because there was 2 routes where it should have been picked off and it wasn't. But Garcia made no effort to go after it.
Yeah, I think Garcia's, main issues playing wide receivers, that there are wide receiver instincts that are hard to develop. And that's just something you got to learn. Some players do, some players don't, some players learn them.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of part of the development process. But yeah, I think on offense, the first thing to note is that they were playing a dang good defense. I went over all the numbers and all the different things and all the trends, the fantastic teams they played and held to low scoring. And so the Utah State was playing a really good defense, but they also got in their own way in a lot of ways by not having effective offensive line play. And on top of that, you pointed out the lack of separation from the receivers. There were passing plays where sure it might have ended in a sack or a pressure, but Barnes would be standing back there for 3.5, 4 seconds. And like, you got to get open at some point.
Yeah.
Like most quarterbacks don't have more than 4 seconds, even with a good offensive line. And so he didn't have anybody to throw to. Because he Barnes doesn't force the ball into win. That's why he's only thrown a handful of interceptions all year.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, if I may add on, please, just the offensive line portion of that. I mean, second play of the game, they send a 4-man rush and they get to Barnes before he even finishes his 4-step drop.
Yeah.
I mean, they were in his lap just like that because the line has been so horrendous this year. You got holding penalties, you've got illegal men downfield penalties, you've got false starts. What are we doing here? And again, Barnes, I mean, there is some fault to Barnes. I think there was a couple of possessions or a couple of sacks where there were coverage sacks, but then also Barnes held onto the ball a little bit too long on a couple of them too. But this offense looked really, really distant in the first half and then came alive way too late in the second half too. And when they got going, by the way, I thought Jacob Conover, that throw to the end zone on the catch, for the touchdown.
I think it was Jacobs, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Jacobs from Conover. Dude, great throw. Phenomenal throw. I'm sure we'll discuss this after the next segment, but the problem is we don't have a quarterback after Barnes.
Yeah.
There's no quarterback.
Well, and I think a bigger part of that was Utah State didn't really have an offense outside of Barnes.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the math on the number of plays and what role he had in them. For the 3 games before the bowl game, he accounted for 75% of all plays. Either he was throwing it or he was running it. And I didn't do the math on what it was before, but he went from in the first 9 games, he averaged 26 passes and 12 or 13 rushes or something like that. And in the last 3 games, so this is UNLV, Fresno, and Boise. That's those 3 games I mentioned. He was up to 32 passes and 18 or 19 rushes per game. And again, that he was accounting for 3/4 of Utah State's offense. Mind you, a quarterback's always going to account for, 50, 60, depending on how often they throw it and how often they run it. So there are quarterbacks who take up a lot of volume in terms of plays just by passing, but it was Bryson Barnes. And in the run game, look at this, 26 rushes in
How
the
is
game.
Miles Davis only getting 3 carries?
Yeah, your 2 running backs get 8 total carries in this game. That's 8 designed rush attempts for your running. Now, mind you, Miles Davis ran for 7 yards in those 5 attempts. So I don't know, maybe it's not justified. But seriously, and some of those were sacks. Bryson Barnes, maybe 10 or 11 design runs. But it's they basically said, all right, Bryson Barnes, go carry this team to victory. And it worked against Fresno State, but it didn't work against Boise State.
But Fresno State's not Washington State.
Yeah.
And it's not Boise State either. And look, the concussion that he took, I love Bryson Barnes. And I love his dedication to go win football games and his grit and his attitude. You've got to get your butt down. When you know that you're the offense for that football team, trying to truck a linebacker over, it's got to stop. And was it targeting? You bet. It was absolute 100% targeting. If Ike's is targeting, that was targeting.
Yeah.
But get down, man. Get down. And so we can actually survive for another play. So we can use you for another play. So you're playing the rest of the game. Instead, we have to take him out, and he's out for the concussion. And I know it's kind of the glorious bastards way of going out, but dude, that's just, man, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. You basically have 2 guys who have been fantastic for this team. Bryson Barnes, who I don't want to criticize too much because his poor performance in this game was obviously there's some factor with him. He missed a few throws, but the offense not doing good was a team thing.
Yeah, 100%.
In Bryson Barnes isn't at fault for the offense having to turn to him exclusively. Like, I'm not pointing that out as a thing that Bryson Barnes is doing. It's basically that Bryson Barnes has been good, but they'd have to depend entirely on him. And when they turned to, like, say, all right, Bryson Barnes, you're just going to carry this team. You look at the last 3 games, last 4 games, really. It's their 4 worst games on offense, pretty much. Like, sure, they only scored like the 14 against New Mexico. That was one of their worst games of the season. But like, they played better on offense against like Texas A&M and Vanderbilt than they did against teams like Boise and, you know, obviously Washington State, where it's like they put all their eggs in the basket of Bryson Barnes and, all right, Bryson, go carry this 100 yards. It's like, you need to have a balanced offense that can take advantage of multiple weapons. And sure, Braden Pagan wasn't there for the bowl game, but he was there for Boise State and Fresno and UNLV, and they couldn't take full advantage.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
And again, the point there at this point is not criticism. It's because the season's over. It is what it is. The Aggies went 6-7. That's all she wrote. The 2025 season is over, but we're just kind of diagnosing what went wrong there. Let's get to the young power sports of Logan text time before we go a little further. We'll also talk about kind of a question I've had, like, is this season a good season or not?
Yeah.
I put out a poll on Twitter, good old X Twitter, and we'll reference that coming up soon here. But 8968 saying, I was told that the TV people said it didn't look like the Aggies didn't want to be in Boise yesterday. I was there and it wouldn't say the Aggies were inspired. I was disappointed in a Bronco coach team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The Aggies wanted to be there. They were excited to play in that bowl game. It's just the execution of the coaching aspect was not great.
Yeah, I think they just got beat by a team that was better than them that day.
Yep.
And you know, the offense, like I said, the things that went wrong with the offense, you could see it coming based on how they'd been playing in their previous games. Just saying, all right, Bryson, go play hero mode and you'll get us through. Well, that's not going to work against a team like Washington State, who obviously saw that and said, all right, we'll stop Bryson Barnes. Yeah. Well, make anybody else stop us, and nobody else.
How disrespectful is this, Jason? And this shocked the crap out of me when I saw this, that they went on a couple of penalties. The Aggies, right? It was on the Aggies, and Washington State was like, no, decline it. We'll take 3rd and 4 over 2nd and 15 right now. Like, we dare you to get this first down. And both times they didn't convert. Like, I think one was on the red area of the field, and it was 2nd down, and they and it was I think it was an ineligible receiver downfield. They declined the penalty, and they said no, like, it's 3rd down. Let's go 3rd and 2 right now. Dare you to get 3rd and 2 on us? And it was just the most absolute ultimate disrespect to Utah State offense, and they had nothing for them.
Yeah, and that was just ultimately the problem, is that Utah State couldn't muster anything on offense. On defense, they did pretty good for about half the game. Yeah. And then suddenly, while you're spending so much time on the field, and then Washington's able to make a couple of adjustments where they found a couple of holes in Utah State's run fits, where like they were trying to kind of run it up the gut or just outside in the first half, and they weren't finding anything there. Utah State was actually stopping the run really well. Well, then in the second half, they made some adjustments. We're finding, found new places to run the ball kind of between tackle and guard, and were able to find these massive rushing lanes.
The couple of things that they found on blocking adjustments that I saw is they would send an extra blocker in from the wide receiver, whether it's a slot receiver on a crackback block. I mean, they'd motion a slot receiver in, and then that guy would either take the safety or the backer, right, like the Sam, and then that would create maybe 5-6 more yards of space. And it worked every single time, and we could not stop it.
Yeah. So, they didn't run the ball well in the second half. As I said, they made some adjustments and blocking, and suddenly it turns, and I think it was 240 something. And they had 255 rushing yards, and all but 10 of those were in the second half.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
And that's where things just kind of fell apart. And once you can run the ball with that kind of effectiveness, you're cooked.
Yeah.
You're absolutely cooked on defense. So credit to the defense for doing as well as they did for as long as they did. But once Washington State found the groove, because Utah State scores 14 points in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. So if Washington State had been held to what they'd done in the first 3 quarters, touchdown, then a couple of field goals in the third quarter. If Utah State had kind of held Washington State to that trend. They could have been within a possession or so toward the end of the game, but they couldn't hold on. The defense just kept collapsing there. Let's go ahead and cut to break. When we come back, we'll kind of ask that question again. Like, was this a good season? You go 6-7. That is a losing season. The Aggies have not had a winning season since 2021. 3 6-7 seasons and a 4-8 season. But in the end, is a 6-7 season satisfactory, good, bad? What do you think? Again, I'll reference some data, some raw numbers online, like 100 people or something like that. We'll have that coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
Winter's here, and that old car sitting in your driveway isn't getting any warmer. Turn that frozen junker into cold, hard cash with DD Auto and Salvage in Logan. It's never too cold, too wet, or too late to clean up and cash out. DD Auto and Salvage makes it quick and easy. They'll even pick it up for you. Get the most money possible for your junk vehicle or scrap metal, and earn a little extra holiday cash while you're at it. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204. And let DD Auto and Salvage pay you today. DD Auto and Salvage. Cold cars turned into hot cash.
Thank you for letting Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic, and the Hearing Aid Center care for your family this year. Be sure to call us for an appointment before the end of the year to make the most of your cafeteria or flex funds. Located in Providence and North Logan, Cache Valley ENT also has offices in Box Elder, Rich, Bear Lake, and Franklin counties. The entire team at Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat wish you and your family a healthy holiday season. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance plans, including Select Health, are accepted.
Now here's a concept. You earmark a third of your profits to go back into the community to local charities. Dex Imaging does that. My name is Nate Lamson, and I'd like to share with you what I know about the company that acquired Valley Office Systems. Dex Imaging is committed to continuing quality customer service on your copier, printer, or office solution while raising the bar to become a strong community partner. Visit deximaging.com. We think globally, but act locally.
Old McDarrell has a farm, an appliance farm.
With down-home country prices and big city selection.
E-I-E-I-O. When you're looking for a friendly spot to drive a little and save a lot, hey, Old McDarrell has a farm, an appliance farm. Darrell's Appliance. Low overhead, but lots of country charm. See Darrell's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Join the show by calling 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
Welcome on back in to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker, joined by Ajay Salvesen here on the Full Court Press. 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. Streaming online at 1069thefan.com and on the 1069 The Fan mobile app. And also check us out on our podcast feed. Basically, wherever you get your podcasts, that's where you'll be able to find us. Just search for the Full Court Press. You can search for Jason Walker, Eric Franson. Usually put Ajay's name in when he's on the show. You can find us anywhere. We post with Podcastics. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those fun places. Spent a lot of time talking about Utah State football in the first segment. We'll keep talking about it here. not too much else to recap the game. I don't think, like, obviously, we had our KVNU Aggie call after the game. I'm sure a lot of people got their feelings out about the game just because of, it was a disappointing game in a lot of ways. Utah State just couldn't get anything going, and until it was too late. But by the time they finally kind of got going on offense, their defense had already kind of given out. The defense did very well in the first half, maybe not very well, but did all right. 14 points. Forced 2 turnovers in the first half, forced 3 turnovers in the game, got a few sacks, got a couple tackles for loss, making some things happen, but then just eventually giving out. So I wanted to reference a poll that I put out yesterday. It's still open and is actually going to be open for another day, but it was along the lines of, how well, or what do fans think of this season? What is their overview on how things have gone? You look at a 6-7 season. How do you view that? Because on the most basic level, that's more losses than wins. And in that sense, you can call it a failure. But there's, it's been said you cannot cut cheese so fine that it doesn't have 2 sides. And there's also context. So we need to obviously take that into account, but with all that context, does it still end up adding up to a disappointment, or does it end up being a positive in the end? So Ajay, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts. I don't know if you saw this poll that I put out on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I voted.
Okay. So let me explain this for those who haven't seen it, kind of my criteria. I wish I had more characters in these polls, because I was trying to fit in the thoughts to each of these, but I only have so many characters.
It's 248 or something characters?
You get 25 characters per poll item.
Okay. That makes
so
sense.
which is surprisingly few. So I couldn't add any nuance to. Maybe I should have just done letter grades, but I kind of wanted to add some personality. So basically, there are 4 options in this poll. Mm-hmm. How do you view this season as a whole? First option, very good. Second option, should have won more, but it was okay. Third option, not good, but not awful. And the final option was terrible.
Okay. So
I'll list out the percentages, and then I'll ask Ajay what you put. So the very good option was 11%. This is about 120 voters at this point. 70% said that the Aggies should have won more. They're okay with the season. 17% said it was not good, but it wasn't awful. And then 2%, so probably 5 people, said it was terrible. So what did you think of the season?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Come on. Let's be honest with ourselves here, Aggie fans. Let's be honest with ourselves. Bronco Mendenhall coming in to coach, all the disaster that has been going on the last 2 years. Somewhat of a new team. There's some iffies. There's some question marks. Actually, there's a lot of question marks. And you're going to tell me that before the season, you knew that we were going to go 6-5, go to a bowl game, 6-6, and be in a bowl game in Boise, Idaho. You really thought that, because there's no way I did. I didn't think we were going to be bowl eligible. I thought we would be competitive, but not bowl eligible. We get bowl eligible. We played Washington State, and as you said, wasn't our day. Just played a better football team that day, and they dominated the field, but they were in a bowl game. And by the way, there are 2, maybe 3 possessions that you and I talked about, and I'm sure Aggie fans have talked about too. 2 or 3 possessions away from being in the Mountain West Conference Championship, but not just being in it, but hosting it. If they make a field goal against UNLV, and if they convert a 4th and short against Boise State, they win both those games. We are hosting the Mountain West Conference Championship on December 3rd or December 5th. Come on, you couldn't have asked for a lot more than that. I think it was actually they exceeded my expectations. Still disappointing because of those losses, but exceeded my expectations and enough that where I thought, I can be positive about this season.
Yeah, I think the key is that I would say they exceeded my expectations slightly, knowing that those expectations were 5-7, 6-6, or kind of low end 4-8, high end 6-6, maybe 7-5.
Okay.
And so they go 6-6, or with the bowl game 6-7, and then as you pointed out, how close they were to being 8-5,
yes,
or 8-4 in the regular season.
Yes,
that's something to point out, and something else, because there was at least one person on Twitter. I'm not going to call out any names, but saying that it was basically the same as last year with Nate Dreiling, as far as he didn't feel like it was that much better than, or let me, to put it to be clear, saying if Nate Dreiling were coaching, they'd have had the same record or better this year. And I just
no, they what? No?
Yeah, and I didn't agree with that. And the thing I ended up pointing out here is that last year, first off, they go 4-8, and they could have gone 5-7 if they think there's a QB sneak against New Mexico they didn't get, but they also made a game-winning field goal against Wyoming. If you give them this year's field goal luck, they missed that and they lose to Wyoming. Would have gone 3-9. And the other thing I pointed out is that last year Utah State was 103rd in strength of schedule. This is the Sports Reference strength of schedule. I don't know what ESPN or whatever had them, but basically 103rd in strength of schedule, and they go 4-8. They had a point differential of -70. This year they have the 79th ranked strength of schedule, so a more difficult schedule by 24 spots. They go 6-7 and have a positive point differential, +29. This team was very clearly better.
Yeah, I think anybody in their right mind would take this year's team over last year's team for so many obvious reasons. We weren't competitive in some of those big games last year. I felt like we were competitive against Texas A&M this year, honestly. I thought we were actually competitive in the second half against Vanderbilt this year. I mean, we were in. Now, granted, they had Ashton Genty a year ago, but we were in it against Boise State and probably should have won it this year as well.
Yeah, last year's Utah State team was competitive against 5 teams.
Yeah.
They won, 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were competitive against New Mexico, obviously losing that one close. They were competitive for a while against Colorado State. So I guess that'll be 6 games. So in half their games, they were competitive. And the rest, they were just not even close. And this year for Utah State, 3 of their losses, they were in it, in the second half. So obviously, in addition to winning 6 games, in 9 out of 12 games, you'd say they were at the very least in it. The only games they weren't really being competitive in the second half, A&M, Vanderbilt, and was there any other regular season games that just weren't in at all?
New Mexico.
New Mexico,
we blown out.
So you have 3 games in the regular season where it's they weren't really that competitive. But even then, they were closer than getting blasted by 40 or 50. They were, giving up 63 to Boise State and all that. So the Aggies clearly improved. And I think in the end, you have a solid season in context. Was it a good season by most metrics? Are people going to remember 2025 for being a good season? No. Because by most objective measures, it wasn't. But in context, that's the key. That's what you're bringing Bronco Mendenhall for, is begin the process of rebuilding the team. Let's get to the text line, get your thoughts on this. 6543 saying, good season, but where do the Aggies go from here? What is the future for these middle of the mid-major teams? Can't compete in NIL, can't keep good players who will always be looking for the bigger money. Is this the best it can get? How can it change? And really what this ends up coming down to is, do you have a coach who can develop players, bring in the right guys via the transfer portal, and hang on to players for maybe that extra year before they go chasing the bag? Because, Utah State's always going to be losing star players to the portal.
Yeah.
They're not going to bring in any super high level transfers, at least very rarely. And a lot of that comes back to NIL and revenue share. And that's going to have an impact. And it's going to mean they're probably not going to be competing in the playoff. They might someday be able to get to the playoff, but they're probably not going to be competing in it. just because that's kind of the way the cookie is crumbling at this point. But it can get better. Like Utah State can do better than 6-7. Mid-major teams are all over the place are going 9-3, 10-2, 11-1, whatnot. Utah State has a path to going forward. It's just they've had several seasons where their coaches, Blake Anderson wasn't ready for the transfer portal era.
No.
And I don't know if Bronco Mendenhall is either. Like, that is one thing I always keep talking about, how Bronco Mendenhall has always done better in like year 2 in developing programs. The one hang up I always have is, all right, how does he handle the portal era? Is he ready for it? I don't know the answer to that question because, got no data on it, and I'm not God. I can't predict this stuff.
This is gonna be our first answer to that, right?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, once January 2nd hits, you're gonna see a bunch of, oh, hey, we just talked to this guy this morning, and he's gonna come to Utah or BYU, and it's gonna be like, oh, really? Just this morning, huh? That was cool. Wow, quick conversation.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, Aggie fans, stay tuned. We're going to get a replacement for Pagan, and it's going to be saucy. Hold tight. Hold on to your undies.
I think fans will want that.
But and here's the other thing, is that McGibbon's offense, I think, fits a lot of receivers who want to catch the ball, right? Who want to be active. And I truly, truly think that you get McGibbon's out there. I think Mendenhall is a great recruit. I really do. I think there's a way that he does it where, I mean, we've heard from his players over and over and over again, all of them, right, about how they love Bronco. Like, they love that guy. It's hard to say that for a coach who's been 6-7 in year 1, but they do. They love that guy. And I think Bronco's way of attaching to players in an emotional, mental way, like, let's be honest, catches to them. They're like, wait a minute, wow, he doesn't think about me as just an X's and O guy. He actually thinks about me as a human being. And I think that really does catch players' eyes. I really do. And so it helps.
Yeah, and so that ends up being the key. Like, there are going to be players, Braden Pagan, for as much as I'm sure he loved playing here, he's going to get a big bag somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Whether or not he's actually going to play and catch passes for whoever's going to give him that bag, we'll see. Because we've seen other players go chase more money and they don't get more reps.
Yep.
They get a lot fewer reps. But I think that Bronco Mendenhall can build a program here. He's going to develop these. He's bringing in good recruits in high school. He's obviously going to lean to the transfer portal. He knows he has to use it. He used it last year. That was most of Utah State's team. Most of their producers were transfers just this year or within the last 2 years. So Bronco's going to know how to use the transfer portal. He's already done that. And, he's got his foothold here now at Utah State, now that he's spent a full season here. So this is really the test of, all right, can he build a program in the transfer portal era? And we're going to find out. I'm optimistic that he can, but obviously don't know if he will. Let's go to more text. 6133. So now, consider this a disappointing season, mostly based on the last 2 games, but I also had a lot more hope this season than I expected. Yeah, and that's kind of the curse of it's the curse of like overachieving early, because they started to
text.
They were kind of overachieving, and then all of a sudden everyone got hope, and then they kind of floundered a little bit. The Fresno State game obviously kind of reinvigorated some of the hope, and then losing to Boise was pretty crushing. But when we were reviewing these 3 games against UNLV, Fresno, and Boise, I was chalking them up as 3 losses and maybe not even competitive. And they go 1-2 and we're competitive in all 3. Honestly, should have won all 3.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the curse of like expectations always move. So once they go up, you can't like push them back down retroactively. And that's kind of the trick with this season, is that it became a little more exciting, and then because it became a little more exciting, it became disappointing when they couldn't like keep improving and keep pushing toward a 7-5 or an 8-4 season. 9315. Going back to the Washington State games, and the defense is on the field too long and way too often. Yeah, like how many short offensive possessions they had. They didn't have time to rest. And then 8968 saying, I would say for what happened last year, this team looked pretty good. It will always be the team of woulda, coulda, shoulda. And then I'll saying, no one that I know of thought we would have a bowl bid team, including me. Yeah, and I think that's the best way to look at the season. Is look, the expectation was maybe they'll get to a bowl. Maybe. And then they did. 2 weeks before the season, before the season ended, they were bowl eligible. They got there. And again, probably should have had 8 wins. if the ball bounces a little bit better for them.
But you would take, like, right, to be competitive, beat Fresno at Fresno, be competitive against UNLV and Boise State, who both participate in the conference championship. You take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And so at this point, like, we're giving Bronco his flowers at this point for doing well in context.
Now,
now the real job begins.
Now the critique comes through because now, and by the way, and it's you could say it's unfair because they're entering the Pac-12. Nope, like he has time to adjust.
Yeah, and a lot of these other teams are entering the Pac-12 for the first time too.
Yep.
So, and these are teams that you've been playing. You've been playing Washington State, Boise, Colorado, Fred. Like these are your peers that you've been with and been playing. Multiple times over the last 4. You've played every single team in the Pac-12 at least once in the last 4 years, except for Texas State. So, and you've gotten wins against, I think, every single one of those teams in that span, except Boise. That's the one team they haven't beat in the Pac-12. And obviously Texas State, where they haven't played them. So, 2305 saying, I have a question about the receiver, Pagan. Did he have to declare before the game that he was going to the portal, or could he have waited until after the game and actually played for the Aggies?
Could have waited.
Yeah, the thing is, the portal does not open, and nobody is in the portal right now. There is not a single player in the transfer portal, unless they were like left over from this last, the spring portal window from earlier this year. Because technically, I don't know, do they ever like just clean everybody out of the portal after a while? Because if you enter it, it's just like you're there.
No, you're sitting there. You're in limbo space if you don't get picked, and you can't get out of it.
Yeah, so there is nobody who played this season that is currently in the transfer portal because it does not open until January 2nd.
Correct.
But a lot of people are saying they're going into the portal because nobody can stop them.
Yeah. So Freeman for Washington State's going to hit the portal.
Yeah. So there were a few guys who said they were going to go into the portal and then played for Washington State.
Yeah.
Freeman obviously being one of the most prominent. I wasn't sure if he was going to play. Like he said, he was in the portal.
I didn't think he was going to play at all.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's a boon for the Aggies. They're down there. They're guys cutting most passes.
Speaking of which, playing, not playing, Noah Avenger.
That was weird because somebody tweeted me and said, "Is he playing?" And I was like, "Okay, I didn't notice because I don't always notice if players on the field or not." And then I took out my binoculars, looked on the sideline. Noah Avenger standing there. There's no other number 1 on the team that I'm aware of standing there. He's got the cold weather, hood on for underneath the helmet and all that. Keep warm. And I was like, this dude looks like he's ready to play. And then I didn't think about it because I was like, okay, Noah Avenger's playing. And then I didn't really think about it again. But yeah, then coach was talking about, Noah Avenger's not playing. I'm like, well, what the heck?
Yeah, so someone came to me before the game and said, hey, Noah's out. And I said, wait, what? He's not out. He's right there. Yeah, he's not playing. No, he's dressed. I know he's dressed, but he's not playing today. He's out. I just it threw me off for a loop.
Yeah, it was really weird. We got to take a break, and we come back. We'll continue this conversation. We'll get back to the text line as well here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Addiction is the one thing that everybody knows about, but not many people talk about. If you're finding yourself in a situation where you're struggling with personal addiction, or maybe you love someone who's struggling with addiction right now, our friends at Renaissance Ranch have a place where you can go for healing. And they focus on more than just the addiction. They help your family heal too. Addiction doesn't just impact one person, it impacts everybody it touches. Learn more at renaissanceranch.net. Also, you can visit their location right here in Logan.
Across our valley, families and friends are gathering, sharing meals, stories, and long-held traditions this holiday season. I'm Lance Zollinger, president at Cache Valley Bank. For generations, you've trusted us to be part of your financial journey, and we're honored to be your hometown bank. This season, we wish you joy, safety, and meaningful moments with the people you love. You deserve it. Happy holidays from Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Hi, it's Emily, and here at Serenoni, we believe everyone deserves the perfect blanket. That's why we offer a wide variety of sizes and fabrics, from our softest minky to cozy lush, breathable bamboni to textured waffle. So you can find the perfect fit for babies, teens, grandparents, and everyone in between. Established in 2006 right here in Logan, come visit us and find the perfect blanket at our store on 10th West next to iFit. Serenoni, wrapped in comfort, gifted with love.
The chips and drinks are endless. The burrito is huge for only $7.95. It's got to be Cafe Sabor, Cache Valley's best Mexican restaurant and gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Experience Locals Day every Thursday with a huge burrito, endless chips and soda, only $7.95. Finding any lunch under $10 is nearly impossible. Every Thursday, drinks, chips, and a massive burrito. You pay just $7.95. The food, the fun at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station on 6th West and Center in Logan.
When the snow starts flying, be sure your tires are ready. At Express Tire, they work with all vehicles and all tire sizes with safety and comfort a priority. As a Point S Tire team member, you're backed by a nationwide warranty that includes roadside protection. No appointment needed. Just stop in and they'll get your tires winter ready. 3200 North Main.
Express Tire. Tires for less.
Express Auto, where tires and service come together.
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Transfer season is upon us, whether we like it or not. They tried to move the transfer portal, and you still have basically the same number of players entering the portal every day during December. 2305 saying, getting back to the question I asked regarding Pagan, did that mean he made his decision based on the fact he did not want to play risk injury? And yeah, essentially.
Yes, 100%.
Like in some players, they'll say they're going to the portal, but like maybe they don't like exactly know where they're going, or a lot of these players, like despite the fact they're transferring, do obviously have a connection to the team and a love for their teammates. They want to play one last time for the teammates and their coaches and whatnot, but a lot of them do have their eyes toward the future still with knowing they're getting the portal, because there is still that, you want to get in the portal early because you want, even if they aren't legally allowed to contact you, except they still definitely are. Mm-hmm. You at least want them to be scouting you, saying, "Oh, this guy's going in the portal. Pull up his film." If you don't do that until January 2nd, they may have already made all their decisions on who they're going to bring in.
Yeah, and the other thing is, because you're right, the athlete does have that final choice of, do I want to play or not? But I think that the coaches who are offering them that money and that opportunity are saying, hey, look, we want you here. We want you to be healthy. So please, if you can, the bowl game doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sit and be ready for us.
Yeah.
And so you'll find out the amount of money he's going to get, and it's massive. And you're going to find out the school he goes to, and it's worth, it's that kind of school that has that money. And I'll be like, oh, well, it all makes sense. But he chose to not play, so he didn't have to risk injury. And then I think there was some conversation probably from the other side of like, hey, we need you to sit so we actually have you healthy here.
Yeah, and it's also unfortunate because
a bummer, man.
Yeah, you also worry, like I've seen it way too many times where these players go somewhere else and then they are never seen from again.
Yeah.
Like there are some that end up actually making a good name for themselves. Like I think of Jalen Warren, who did fantastic. Kids in the NFL.
Unreal.
He's not a kid anymore. I mean, he's he got to be in the NFL because he went to Oklahoma State and then balled out at Oklahoma State.
But Byron Vaughn?
Yeah, Vaughn
disappeared.
He completely disappeared. Man thought he was going to the NFL. He was.
And I'll say it, AJ Vaughn.
Yeah.
Like I barely heard of him.
Yeah, like there's basically two guys that I think ever elevated themselves beyond Utah State, and it was Jalen Warren and Waylon Lapuaho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Waylon was a big one.
Like,
yep,
they've both managed, but it was partly because they went somewhere that actually let them play. But most of the time, like it's always this bet on yourself. Well, it's hard to bet on yourself when you will automatically get. What's the worst hand in poker? Like a 5 and a 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like if the team is going to deal you that every time, like we'll give you $750,000 or $950,000 or $1.5 million or whatever, and we'll bring you onto the roster, but then all right, you're gonna start camp with the fourth stringers. And we're not going to let you, elevate up the depth chart. Like, how does that help you?
Yeah, well, and there's the aftermath of it all, right? Too. Okay, well, I guess from a basketball standpoint, think about it. I did a question with somebody. I said, "Hey, do you know who Stephen Ashworth is?" No. Do you know who Justin Bean is? Oh, absolutely. It's like one of the best rebounders ever. Justin Bean stuck around for 4 years. Stephen Ashworth left to Creighton. right? People know who, Sam Merrill, Namish Keta especially, right? Those guys can always come back to the Spectrum and watch a basketball game. They can always come back. Justin, Namish, Sam, even Mason Falls right now, right? Like, he can come back and watch a basketball game. Stephen Ashworth can never come back. He can say, well, I love the place. Great. You can't come back and watch a game? Like nobody wants you there.
Personally, I hope Mason Falsov doesn't come to watch a basketball game. Mostly because I want him to be playing in it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes.
I get what you mean, though. I get
yeah.
what you mean. I don't mean to poke fun at you there. We do need to take another break. We went a little long a couple of segments ago, so we got to do some short breaks here. So we'll come back. We'll finish off the first hour with.
Let's get depressing again.
Yeah, let's get depressing again. Is what was a fantastic era for Utah State sports is coming to an end. We trusted him, but unfortunately, he's leaving. We'll talk about it next year on the Full Court Press.
Over the past few years, strong and crazy weather patterns have battered various parts of the country. Northern Utah and southern Idaho are not immune from its share of wild weather. Be prepared for power outages with a Generac backup generator from Golden Spike Electric. They are your local source for Generac sales and service. Generac keeps you in control when bad weather strikes. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
Utah winters come fast. Is your car ready? Don't miss this special at Master Auto Tech. Right now, buy 3 tires and get 1 free for up to $200 off. Why pay for 4 when you can get 1 for free? With 22 locations, including Logan, Brigham City, and Ogden, it's easy to get rolling. Don't wait. This special offer ends December 31st. Visit masterauto.tech and drive safe this winter.
Your trusted, helpful expert, Master Auto Tech.
Hi, this is Robbie with LSS Insurance. If you're about to turn 65, the Medicare phone calls, mailers, and emails can be unreal. Out-of-market telemarketers simply do not understand Utah, Idaho, or your individual situation. We have real answers and real solutions with local help. At LSS Insurance, we are your health insurance specialists. Call us 752-9493. Having local help makes all the difference, and there's no cost to you. Call 752-9493 or visit lssins.com.
Kids get snow days. Contractors take winters off. But Top Shed doesn't. Snowing, freezing, Mother Nature throws a tantrum, we keep building. From sheds to backyard retreats to chicken coops, Top Shed builds on-site in your community across northern Utah, southern Idaho, and Wyoming. If your backyard's ready, we're ready. Because Mother Nature can't cancel us. Top Shed, making sheds great again. Call 435-760-7766 or visit TopShedUSA.com.
For the men and women who feed America and never ask for applause, West Motor Company salutes you. Thank you for raising the food that fills our tables, for your grit, your hard work. West Motor Company is proud to sell Ram and Ford trucks to help you do your job. So right now, farmers and ranchers can take an additional $500 off our lowest price. That's an extra $500 off every rebate, discount, and offer we can find. West Motor Company, 80 years strong and still driven to serve you.
The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wee's T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
Christmas is coming. It's only a couple days away, and the cold and snow is coming with it. Get batteries, headlights, wiper blades. It's all in stock and on sale at your local Napa Auto Parts. Fill up the Christmas stockings with air fresheners, snow scrapers, shop towels, seafoam, and more. We got Chemical Guys car wash and detailing kits for $49.99. And you can also pick up the last bags of Blue Heat Ice Melt for $10. It's all, again, on sale at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts store. You can find them from Preston all the way down to Providence. So, Ajay, for 6 years, Utah State has enjoyed the fruits of the Rob Neilson era for Utah State volleyball, but that came to an end today. BYU officially announcing they're hiring Rob Neilson as their next head coach of their women's volleyball program. That means the Aggies got to search for another head coach after a 112-59 over record in the Rob Neilson era, 3 regular season Mountain West championships, 2 conference tournament championships, 3 Coach of the Year awards for Rob Neilson, and 4 appearances in the NCAA tournament, including 1 win just last month, or maybe it was earlier this month. I can't remember exactly the date. But yeah, Rob Neilson era is over.
But look, rightfully so, he has the right to make that decision. What he's done for the program and turning it around, bringing it from a doormat to an absolute contender, not just in conference, but nationally as well. He's earned that right to make that decision. And look, it's an alumni school. He played volleyball there. He knows the people there, the opportunity, the religious aspect of it as well. It's the right decision to make, and for him, he's earned it too. And not to mention, you have 3 players leaving the team before he even made a decision, and it's just like, well, it kind of hurts me. And so,
I imagine they made that decision though, knowing what was coming. Though,
oh, man,
I have to imagine they knew he was leaving.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The timing of it all seems kind of odd. But I will say that, like, this is a great program, and Cam Walker's going to get plenty of phone calls of interest from very, 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 very good head associate coaches, assistant coaches, and even head coaches from around the country, both in G5 and P4 conferences, that want to be the head coach here.
Yeah, I don't quite have full time to read the entire text, but 533 basically texting and essentially saying the same thing. They're going to attract a good head coach. There are a lot of good coaches that the Aggies can bring in. That's going to do it for us here in the first hour. Stick around. We're going to get back to positive things. Utah State men's basketball.
I love happiness.
Yeah, big win over Colorado State. We'll talk about that next and what's next for them in Mountain West play here on the Full Court Press.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. When we talk about marquee matchups, we usually picture Super Bowl contenders trading punches on Sundays. Well, this week, the NFL gives us something very different, but still very compelling. The 2-13 Giants head to Vegas to face the 2-13 Raiders. At stake, the number 1 pick in the draft. It's not all about playoff positioning, it's about leverage. One thing is clear with the franchise quarterback at the top of this year's draft in Fernando Mendoza: this is a game with enormous value. For the Raiders, it represents a potential reset at the most important position in sports. As for the Giants, could mean something entirely different. A trade down, a bidding war, and getting premium draft picks. This is what makes Sunday fascinating. Every mistake shifts the future. One win could cost you a franchise quarterback. It's ugly football, but the stakes are high, and the ripple effects could be felt long after Week 18. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.